Greetings everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Captain Rye. Today's YouTube video has got me in the almighty Perth. Yes, that's right, the Perth is actually back on sale. I'm hoping that by the time this video comes out it's still on sale. And if you were on the fence about getting it, hopefully this video will help you decide if you want to get it. The Perth is a very interesting beast in this game. She's kind of like the Leander, but she's also kind of like the Belfast in the respect that she gets high explosive, very important. She gets a smoke screen, but the smoke screen's unique, and she doesn't get a heal. As the battle gets underway, it's Trident map, it's domination match mode, and I've instantly run into the enemy Perth. Now I pop my smoke screen, I start backing up, I switch over to the armor piercing as the enemy Perth starts moving broadside onto me. Now, his big mistake here is that he slowed down to about half speed, 3/4 speed, when in reality what he should have done is done what I've done and slowed down to quarter speed or stopped altogether. Unfortunately, I don't manage to finish him off before I get too far behind the island and he does finally disappear. But because I backed up, I'm now well outside of his torpedo arc, and that's going to be good for me. He's not got a lot of health left, and I'm hoping I can land the killing blow onto him here. Get shots out there. He's really, I only need to hit him maybe once. I managed to hit him, almost kill him. Not enough time to reload before my kill gets stolen from me by the friendly Farragut. Well, the Farragut's got himself into a pretty nasty situation as he's found himself caught between an enemy destroyer and an enemy cruiser. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push up here and provide what assistance I can. Pop my hydroacoustic consumable, which is another advantage that the Perth has, though it's not very good as far as the range on detecting enemy ships. You do really have to get quite close. Enemy destroyer smoke screen dissipates. It's Japanese destroyer. It's the Fubuki. Caution, violence to small underage boats. Fubuki is caught out in the open, backing up well inside of its detection range. There's not a lot that this guy can do at this point, although he's not even really paying attention to me. Managed to knock out his engines, but just pay attention here. This is a tier 6 cruiser, a Leander class, and the secondary gunners on this ship are absolutely wrecking this Fubuki. They are just going to town on him, not to mention my regular gunners. And I managed to secure my second kill as a close quarters expert. Friendly destroyer up here in his smokescreen manages to survive by some miracle. Just barely. Enemy cruiser up here, very low health. I'm switching over to the armor piercing because he's turning broadside on. But of course, as my guns finally get the armor piercing reloaded, he gets finished off. And now I'm switching back over to the high explosive. My team is now in the process of capping the A cap point as I get set on fire yet again by this Molotov. Pay attention to this Molotov, we're going to be seeing a lot of him in the battle. The captain skills that I have for this ship that I find work really, really well with it. I have the inertia fuse high explosive rounds on this ship, and they tend to do very, very well. Yeah, they reduce the chance for fire overall, but they do tend to penetrate the bow armor on things like Colorado's and New Mexico's quite well, on top of doing a very reasonable amount of damage to cruisers. In fact, I've even managed to citadel a cruiser with this ammunition. The other captain skill that I have that I find works incredibly well with this ship is that I have the concealment expert. Because of the nature of the smoke screen and the fact that it just kind of moves with you, it means that you can get caught out in the open, slow down, pop the smoke screen, and continue to move slowly, getting up there with your torpedoes, with your guns ablazing, and really you just turn into a very large, slow-moving destroyer. The concealment expert allows me to get well within my gun range and nearly into my torpedo range, as my torpedo range is 8 kilometers, while the concealment with concealment expert is 8.6 kilometers. If I've got ships that are coming in, I can get up there to about 9 kilometers, turn hard, avoid being spotted, fire off torpedoes, and usually set a nice ambush with people who aren't expecting surprise torpedoes. This Molotov continuing to bother me, so I pop my smoke screen again as I slow down. And this is where it really comes into a fine balancing act with this ship. You really do want to move quicker, but at the same time, you really do want to stay inside that smoke screen. And if you don't kind of gently stay between that half speed and quarter speed, that 12 knot magic number, you really aren't going to be able to do that. Of course, as I drop off detectability range again, because everything's outside, I do speed up a bit here so that I can get back into range of some of these ships and start shooting at them. That's kind of when I should slow down here, but again, nothing really trying to attack me, nothing shooting back at this point. So I turn hard, slow way down in an effort to try and get shots out here while not being seen. The other skill that I have is the dual catapult fighters. The Perth, for all of her greatness, is lacking that crucial anti-aircraft, and she doesn't seem to be able to shoot down planes very well. She can shoot down 1 or 2 aircraft on an incoming squadron, but that's about it, and that really is not enough to avoid getting hit. So she definitely needs friendly cruiser support for AA support, or a friendly aircraft carrier to be attentive and come in and help out dealing with those aircraft. But the dual catapult fighters do definitely help keep those aircraft from basically coming in and just dropping a sledgehammer on you. They will cause a panic drop on the enemy fighters, bombers, and torpedo bombers. Team manages to secure the B cap point, so now we have 2 of the cap points. The enemy team down to, well, just their last destroyer, and we actually know where he's at because he keeps popping up here. He's very low health. I really don't have to hit him more than once, but I do have to be careful as the Molotov is still in the distance, and there is a battleship back over there. That destroyer does get shots out onto me, but I finish him off anyway for my 3rd kill as I take shots in from the Molotov. The battleship here, my biggest concern, because I am broadside onto him, doesn't seem to be particularly interested in shooting at me, and this is actually surprising because I am caught way out here in the open, and I have to turn to avoid potential torpedoes. Of course, fortunately for me, those torpedoes fall just short before they reach me, and that is a really good thing because I'm not sure I would have been able to torpedo beats that. So now I'm in a position here. I still have 1 smoke screen left, but I'm kind of isolated up here by myself. Friendly cruiser up here has got himself into a bit of a situation as the enemy battleship is effectively just shooting at him, and he's turning broadside on. Now, because he's turning broadside on and I wasn't expecting it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trade some paint with this poor fellow as the Molotov comes around the island and opens up yet again. Shots away at the Molotov, and I probably could be switching over to armor piercing, but given that the Molotov has this tendency to continuously turn, the high explosive will do just fine. Of course, if I can set him on fire and cause him some more problems, that would be great as well. Enemy battleship manages to take out the Leander, who I swapped paint with, and now I've slowed way down because I don't need to be the only guy isolated up here by myself. Molotov manages to survive this engagement as he gets outside of my gun range and is maneuvering hard. I have my scout fighters and I've got my hydro up because I want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to pop torpedoes into my smoke screen as I continue here. The enemy team is actually managing to do reasonably well as they've got their battleships now focusing into a nice pack. And they're pretty much going to start wrecking the teammates that are down on the south end of the map. And you'll notice that I am now the only person who is up on the north end of the map. So I will try to put shots out that I can. But it's not going to be the easiest thing if nobody is spotting for me. The other thing that I can say that the Perth really does have going for it is that it's got these really nice torpedoes. And like the British cruisers, you can launch these torpedoes in single fire mode. So you can opt to determine the spread, but you can also drop them all on the same line and just double up on the damage and cause some ridiculous amounts of damage to enemy battleships that are fool enough to sail in a straight line. Smokescreen has run out, and now I'm caught out in the open, and this is a little bit bad. So I definitely don't want to be caught out in the open here. Get one more shot off as I start heading towards the safety and cover of islands, and of course enemy battleship decides he's finally going to pay attention to me and start shooting at me. Does hit me on the stern. Fortunately, the Citadel does not extend to the stern, but he does manage to hit me in the center of the ship. Doesn't Citadel me, which is pretty much the only reason I'm still alive. But now I'm very low health. Again, just like the Belfast, this ship does not get a heal. So you do have to play a little more conservatively than you would with the British cruiser line regarding dealing with enemy ships. Surprisingly enough, though, the armor on it seems to be pretty good when dealing with British cruisers, because of course they've got the semi-armor piercing rounds, which means you can angle very well against those ships. And not only against the British cruisers, but really against other cruisers as well. I see a lot of cruisers who try to pump armor-piercing rounds into my bow, and I just watch them bounce. Occasionally, I'll even get the bounce off of something like a New Mexico. Enemy team has managed to drop us down to our last 4 ships, myself included. And they have actually managed to pull the scores back and cap the B cap point. This, of course, is going to give them the points generating advantage for now, and my team's not really in too much of a position to do much about it at the moment, because the enemy team still has 2 battleships there at the C cap point, and they do manage to take out one of our battleships all the way to the south that was chasing one of their battleships. And I kind of feel like those 2 battleships that were down there that were chasing that guy really did take themselves out of the game. The only other battleship that's on my team that's in any kind of position to assist me at the B cap point is very low health, and he is actually back over, stuck on an island, incidentally, at the A cap point. Team chat there is asking me to go do something at the B cap point. Now that I've got my smoke screen back up, I can actually go do something at the B cap point. Mainly, I can open up on these guys. The inertia fuse high explosive does reduce your chance for fires, but because of the rate of fire on the Perth, I feel like it really doesn't impact the number of fires that I set here. So again, keeping my speed at about 1/4 to just try and throw off that aim a little bit, it really does confuse battleships that try to shoot dead center into the smoke, because they don't realize you're actually leading that smoke screen. Putting round after round into this New Mexico here as he goes up this side of the island. The other enemy battleship that I've been pecking at is going around the other side of the island, and that's actually really good. The New Mexico looks like he puts out the fire almost right away, but if you look at these damage numbers as I'm hitting him, they're actually doing pretty well. I'm not getting a lot of shatters, and that's pretty damn good. When I hit direct into the bow or the stern of the ship, you can see that I'm putting up consistently about 2,000 or 3,000 damage. Managed to set that New Mexico on fire again, and this time he's going to burn down because he's already burned his damage control. Enemy Molotov back over there, incredibly low health. He's down to 99 points. Enemy team manages to take out our battleship at the C cap point. That's alright, I managed to take out their battleship at the B cap point. And with the last remaining battleship on their team headed toward the A cap point back behind that island, I'm now in a really good position where I can actually go into the B cap point and challenge it. I know that there's an enemy Molotov up here, and I know that he's incredibly low health, and if I can get the drop on him and spot him first with my guns in the right position, I can finish him off before he can cause a reasonable amount of damage to me. And there he is, and his guns are in fact pointed the other direction. They're pointing at the other battleship. So I get shots off, I'm spotted, it doesn't matter, I only hit him once and finish him off. And there is my 4th kill of the game. There's only one ship left, and it would be wonderful if I could get a Kraken. But at this point, the situation with points is my team needs to go and cap the B cap point, because the enemy team and my team are incredibly close on points, and if we do not cap the B cap point, or that ship manages to kill one of us, and it's probably going to be me if he comes around this island, his team's pretty much going to win. Of course, he starts capping the A cap point, which means that my team no longer gaining any points whatsoever. But this battleship's very low health. The gun arcs on the Perth are decent, and he's continuing to move around the side of this island, so I'm just putting blind shots over the edge of this island based on where I think he's at. And I'm just kind of trying to get in there and try to range. Can I get him? Can I find that sweet spot where he's at? Friendly battleship manages to hit him, causes damage. I managed to hit him, and there's the range, so I've definitely got the range, and I finish him off for a Kraken Unleashed right there at the very end and securing victory. 106,000 damage done, and not a single torpedo hit for that 106,000 damage done. 534,000 credits earned in this battle. Close quarters expert and a Kraken Unleashed. Close quarters expert's the more surprising one in the Perth. And of course, this is going to put me up near the top of the team for XP earned. At the top, just over 2,000 base XP. Overall, a very good battle, and yes, when handled correctly, the Perth is an absolute beast. Definitely capable of creating some Australian barbecue in whatever battle you happen to be in, even when you're bottom tier. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me and my channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Any support level, even below what's listed, will grant you access to some of my World of Warships replays and screenshots, some of which end up here on YouTube, early. And if you've got a World of Warship replay that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. If you'd like to watch me play World of Warships live on Sundays, usually at about 10 a.m., among other games, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.